What's up, everybody? It's the Inhuman one here, and today I'm tackling the daunting task of explaining the fragmented and convoluted tale of mankind achieving immortality. That's right, today we'll be discussing the plot of Mortal Shell. So without further ado, let's get started. Ever since the birth of sin, man has sought out immortality at all costs. Death was the inevitable conclusion to every human's brief moment of existence. In a desperate attempt to regain their former longevity, mankind had constantly strived to devise a method to obtain a taste of infinity. In time, a solution was found. It was Solomon the scholar that discovered the secret to never-ending life. However, the cost was great. The answer came to him in the most unlikely of forms. It was a wormfish from the void that delivered their fate. It is unknown how the first wormfish was captured. However, what we do know is that inscription 16 states that a worm split asunder becomes something new. The otherworldly wormfish brought with them otherworldly hard-shelled parasites. These parasites, also known as the unborn, marked the beginning of the deathless doctrine. The Dark Father, Solomon's brother, was the first to accept the dark gift. Unlike the other godlike creatures that would later be known as the Revered, the Dark Father consumed his unborn directly, forming a link that forever changed him. In time, his body mutated and his power grew to new heights. He had achieved immortality. However, his transformation was less than divine. He would be captured and imprisoned for all eternity, used to farm subsequent unborn that would usher mankind into a new era. The unborn contained within them special glands that, when extracted, could allow transversal to the void, glimpses of the future, and more, hence earning the name the Glandfather. As time passed, Solomon learned from his previous experiments. In order to preserve one's humanity, the link to the unborn required sacraments. The first sacrament required a glimpse of humanity. The fifth inscription explained that Tarsus gave neither blood nor body. He gave his living memory, becoming not only an empty husk, but also the first martyr. Similarly, Imrod was tasked with satiating the hungriest of the unborn with sacrifices of flesh and blood. Crucix and his conjoined brother etched the new age of man in stone and created a religion based on false truths and silence. These brothers and sisters would later become the devout. The first etching states that, as the bonds with the unborn were formed, mankind slipped into a madness and willful subjugation. In time, the consumption of tar, a byproduct of gland extraction, tainted the minds of the devout and transformed them into subhuman creatures. This was a far cry from Solomon's original plan of immortality and ascension. The original intent was for the imprisoned Dark Father to produce seedlings, as stated in the 14th etching. The 9th inscription and 3rd etching state that the seedlings were a multitude of empty, human-like vessels unbound by time or shape. Their sole purpose was to produce unborn in an attempt to extract the true nectar from their otherworldly glands. The 9th etching shows that, over time, as mankind continued to fall ever downward, the acolytes lost their faith and left the seedlings unattended. As a result, the seedlings grew opaque, solid, and brittle like obsidian. Their purpose was no more, other than to serve a painful reminder of past splendor, rendered into tragic substitute for never-ending life. The very last seedling, known to us as the foundling, is by definition an infant that has been abandoned by its creators and in this instance shaped and cared for by a dying world. As the pure and innocent child traversed the mortal realm, glimpses into the past gave tiny morsels of information on the current state of the world and, more importantly, what it meant to be a human. In the end, false gods and otherworldly creatures fell to the foundling's insatiable desire for the truth. In the futile pursuit of immortality, the Dark Father had indeed abandoned his child, seeking ascension only for himself and denying any others. The 19th inscription illustrates this very fact by stating that you are damned at birth, promised death. This is the frailty of our flesh, but it is a falsehood. The gift of immortality lies within reach. It is this false belief that compelled Solomon and the Dark Father to seek out this precious gift at any cost. Perhaps this is why upon his death and destruction that a glimpse of fallacy was formed. For only a fool, driven by a mistaken belief, could seek out a blessing that can only be granted by the one true living God. Mankind had been charmed and cursed by the nectar of false gods. Seeking to become gods themselves, they choked on the venomous promise of false immortality for all eternity. And until next time, it's the Inhuman One signing out.